You know, as I drive around to locations that we're all familiar with, that our members work at, I'm saddened that it's a ghost town. And I wonder what real leadership would do in this situation. A man like Caesar. You know, the videos that I've been putting out, some people are angry with me over that. And they've claimed that I'm only attacking this administration and I'm not presenting any solutions. And that isn't a good sign of a leader. I disagree. The videos are pointing to a problem, and within that is the obvious solution. Enforce our black book. Make it even across the board. Everybody has a seat at the table. These videos make some of our members angry, but why? The reason that the videos resonate with so many other members is because what I'm saying rings true to those members. They know there's corruption. They know that they aren't allowed to speak their mind without being retaliated against, and they know that the rules aren't being enforced. That's why these videos are reaching so many members in Teamsters Local 399. But once again, I have to ask, why are some members angry about what I'm doing? Because they don't want change. They benefit from this system the way it is. And what I'm doing threatens the people that don't want this change. So let's talk about what is resonating with some of the members and possible solutions. It's almost a joke to say, enforce the black book at this point, because we've all heard the same thing over and over from one regime to the next, but nothing ever changes. Why? Because every regime wins elections with the support of a few coordinators. The leadership isn't going to enforce the rules on some of these members because it would mean no money and no support or endorsement for their slate with the drivers that those coordinators have on their shows. Is this fixable? Yeah, I believe it is. But it's got to come from the ground up. It's got to come from the drivers. Electing someone that will be of service to the membership. Not someone that puts this administration in power and a handful of coordinators before our membership. Enforcing grouping alone could be solved simply with an app that the drivers use saying why they were laid off and the reason that they took a layoff if they took a layoff. Get rid of the voluntary layoff form and make the process anonymous so that there can be no retaliation for calling in a dismissal that wasn't within our rules. This may seem like I'm signaling out all the coordinators, but I'm not. Most coordinators in this local are good, strong union members, looking out for the rank and file. It's a small, select group that are the biggest abusers. And this administration not only knows who they are, but they assist them in skirting the rules. This may also seem like a bad deal for you Group 2s, but it's not. This would actually be good for the Group 2s. If those Group 1s were fully employed on shows, we would be into Group 2s a lot more, and you would have better odds of getting day playing work. The way it is now, only a lucky select group of Group 2s are working. The ones that are tied in with coordinators and the ones that are lucky enough to have their coordinators have shows right now. Will we see this administration be stricter over the next year over grouping? Of course we will. This has already started. When you bring attention to inequality in your union, it seems that they have to respond. Let's bring attention to something else that has become common practice in our local, and that would be the drunken spending at our union hall. Everything is slowed down. Everyone has lost out on work and income. But what is our leadership doing? They're spending more money with more business agents, more car leases, more attorneys, more auditors, New computers every year? We need to be cutting spending, not increasing it. And we need to be smarter how we spend the money that we have and use the resources that are available to us. Lindsay spent a ridiculous amount of time working with the WGA planning how to shut down shows across America. She spent time traveling the United States, meddling in other locals' contracts across the nation. Our business agents spent time helping the WGA. Was that on our dime? All this did was put us deeper into a financial hole. Imagine if they spent that time and money working on getting more incentives here in California. Imagine instead of hemorrhaging money on countless BAs, we hired a full-time professional lobbyist that worked on nothing but getting us incentives to match Atlanta and New York. You want to save this pension? You want to strengthen our union? Get more work back here. The more drivers working, the more money going into our health and welfare. The more dues the union is collecting. And maybe we would get out of the red and back into the black. Or, crazy idea, maybe we could put together a strike fund so that when it's our turn, if we have to strike, the union doesn't say simply, go stand in a bread and food line so you can feed your family. And speaking of our pension, that's something our leaders should have spent way more time on. Of course, more work through incentives would help to shore this up, but we need way more contributions. We are not going to see the full effect of this strike that what it had on our fund for a while. But you can be sure we didn't come out of this unharmed. If the market takes a downturn, which they always do, it's going to be devastating for our retirees and for the members looking to retire soon. Don't even mention you 2s and 3s, because if this doesn't get fixed, you won't have a pension. You think this is fear mongering? Look at what happened to Yellow Trucking when they went bankrupt. We aren't exempt from any of these downturns, especially considering the disaster this last year has brought upon us. I started by asking, what would Caesar do? Caesar was one of the greatest generals and leaders in the history. He was loved by his men. Why? Because Caesar was humble. He would never ask his men to make a sacrifice that he himself wouldn't make. He would sleep in the field of battle with his men, unlike other generals that had lavish tents away from their men and armies. Caesar's men loved him and would do anything for him because he was of service to his men, not the other way around. We don't have leadership like that right now. We have people that ask you to sacrifice for solidarity while they are collecting huge paychecks. We have leadership that enrich their family and friends by making sure that they're compensated while you're starving. We have leadership that looks after the interests of the richest among us to ensure that they will stay in power. You want solutions? Start by taking responsibility for your power as a member of Teamsters Local 399. Demand that your leaders put this union first. Demand that your leadership understand they are your servants, our servants. This isn't their union to use as a play toy for their political advancement to Washington, D.C. It's your union, it's my union, and now is the time to stand together as the membership, brothers and sisters of Teamsters Local 399. Thank you, guys.